So joining me on my right is Thomas van der Heyen, the chief executive and co-founder of Briink. Sorry, the far right rather. And then on my immediate right is Mark Fischel, the head of product at Novata. The companies here and the sort of interaction is a very interesting case study in how AI can move forward in ESG and sustainability data. So Tomas, I think we can start with you. What is the sort of proposition that Briink brings to the table in terms of AI and ESG reporting?
Yeah, Briink was co-founded by myself and my co-founder about 4 years ago, really with the vision that there's a lot of major manual data intensive workloads within the ESG space, and a lot of those workflows can be increasingly augmented or automated using AI. And I think the vision really that led to the founding of Briink was that we really need to enable ESG teams to be able to do this work much more effectively so that they can actually focus more on areas that are critically important around what do I actually do as a business? How do I actually move my business forward during the sustainability transition? And so we really focus specifically on identifying core manual workloads where people are getting stuck at the moment. And there are many of them. So I'm excited to be here today to talk about a few of them. Looking forward to the discussion.
I'm sure we'll get into more detail on the specifics of the workload and also that dichotomy you're talking about between automation and also augmentation. Mark, so sort of round out the particular case study. You've obviously partnered with Briink. What brought Novata into this partnership, and how have you as a firm been looking at the question of AI and sustainability data?
Yes, thank you very much, Matthew. Yeah, so lovely to be here. As mentioned, my name is Mark Fischel, head of product at Novata. For those of you not familiar with what Novata is, it's a software platform. We help investors and companies track sustainability data and improve over time. Now, to answer your question, I guess how this panel came together is, AI, there's been quite a few panels at this event about AI, but it truly is transforming the way sustainability work gets done. I think we work with over 10,000 companies worldwide on sustainability reporting, and the amount of exhausted faces we see, our teams become a reporting factory, all of this kind of narrative. And I think the reality is it doesn't have to be that way. We've just started working with Briink in the last 6 months to embed AI in all kinds of different sustainability processes. So, for example, in our CSRD offering, we're enabling companies to just upload already submitted reports. They can upload their TCFD report, upload their annual impact report, upload their decarbonisation plan, and instantly get answers to hundreds of different CSRD data points rather than starting from scratch every single time. And I think what we'll get into is what's really exciting is, well, what does that then enable them to spend their time doing? Well, it's like moving beyond reporting, taking action, building coalitions, driving the actual business case and creating value for their organizations.
So in terms of brass tacks, when you talk about these exhaustive faces and saving so much time, what are we actually looking at in terms of the amount of time saved? Like, do you have some sense, ballpark figure of what this actually looks like? How much of ESG reporting has just become a box ticking exercise, and how much can that be shrunken down with good AI data and AI use?
Right. Well, maybe we can, sticking on the CSRD theme, and perhaps you can talk about DMA, which is a big exercise, can take like 6 months at the start of a CSRD process. I'm sure many in the room have been through it. And it can cost tens of thousands, and you have to work with a consultant and all the rest of it. By partnering with Briink, we enable companies to upload their website, some information about their company report, and instantly populate tens to hundreds of IROs rather than laboriously going through and executing it. So in terms of quantifying it, it can be months of work and tens of thousands in consultant fees. And it's here and now. It works really well. Obviously, you need some human in the loop, like it's not a silver bullet, but it saves such a large amount of time. I don't know if you'd add any more in terms of quantifying that.
Yeah, I think also just to build off that, I think, there's all of these manual workloads. You do the DMA, then you need to you want to get a head start. So you're doing a gap assessment against your existing disclosures. I think typically organizations that we work with are spending days or weeks or even months doing that work, oftentimes working with consultants that they're spending hundreds of thousands, if not more on. But again, you're just trying to figure out what is already there in your existing disclosures. It's a use case that AI is really well fit to be able to solve. And we found that with Briink, with our technology, you can do that in a matter of 10, 15 minutes. It really allows you to get a really quick head start and then be able to say, okay, now what do I do? Okay, where are the gaps? What are the recommended actions, right? So the AI models are also able to give you a bit of a roadmap to where to go next, right? And this allows you to really move beyond spending basically your entire budget on work that can be largely automated using artificial intelligence.
And the time savings from automation sound really impressive when you talk about something that could take months happening in 15 minutes. But I sort of want to get into that trade-off about how much of that still does need some sort of human hand. Obviously, AI systems are quite powerful, but also are prone to some errors. They're not perfect. There's always an accuracy concern. Regulators have their own particular questions about the provenance of data. So what is the sort of ideal balance that you found, or sort of the balance that you're settling on in terms of how much of this can be automated versus how much of this process still needs humans involved?
Yeah, maybe I'll start with that. I think the first thing that's important in building any AI system, not just Brink's, but any AI platform, you're largely dealing with large language models that are very powerful, but also probabilistic systems, right? They are inherently going to provide very accurate results, but not all the time, right? And so it's really important to build a lot of human-in-the-loop elements into the workflows, right? So being able to kind of cross-check, double-check the results, being able to provide really accurate source references and audit trails so you know where the results are coming from, but really honing it in so that you as a human or as a sustainability team, you're not spending the entire time doing everything from scratch. You're more diving in, validating, double-checking, and ultimately it saves you orders of magnitude of time, but you're still able to then trust that what is being produced, what you're ultimately, what you as a human or as a team are ultimately accountable for, can be backed up.
That makes a lot of sense. I think sort of building on that question of sort of freeing up human time. I think I've been on other panels in this session that have talked about ESG becoming too much of a tick box exercise, data becoming too much of a compliance function. I think both of you mentioned earlier the potential for human resources to be freed up to do other things. Is AI able to really sort of be more proactive, be more a tool for expanding and moving beyond just compliance? And are there particular examples of that either of you have seen in your business so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think you're spot on. Like when I look across the last 2 days, and I appreciate everyone staying with us. I know it's been a long couple of days. We're getting to the end, but it's really been all about. We're not talking about compliance tick box exercises anymore. Everyone, I think, is agreed that sustainability has to, wipe its own face in terms of driving business value. And I think AI really is the tool to enable teams to actually start doing that. AI is not just useful for reporting, but also, really, there's a lot of data being reported, and you can get that data to the right person quicker using AI, but also drive more insights. I mean, this data never belonged to a stakeholder or to a regulator or to anyone. It's your business data. And I think one of the great power of AI as well is to surface insights, decision useful kind of data points. Like, for example, we were listening to the panel on AI yesterday, and they talked about how it's helped identify, emission hotspots. These are the 15 ingredients that deliver outsized emissions in my overall value chain. Things like that. It's just really unlocked a lot of unstructured, messy data that existed within your organization. It's really bringing that to the surface and actually being able to drive more value, more insights, etc. So it's not just about generating reports, but also moving through and actually realizing the value of all of this disclosure. The promise that we've always had is that if we do more disclosure, have more transparency, we'll be able to actually do things about it. Well, it's actually very difficult to do that without technological support, like from AI tooling.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think there's a huge promise of AI, right? I think if you listen to Sam Altman from OpenAI, he always talks about how AI increasingly is going to bring down the cost of intelligence to zero. Now, let's imagine that we can bring the cost of sustainability intelligence down to zero, right? We can be in a world that is not, an ESG world right now that is very slow, reactive, backwards looking. We can go into a world that's much more dynamic, forward looking, automated, right? I think you can imagine right now we're talking about compliance, right? But can you imagine large organizations that are able to dynamically assess a huge swath of their supply chain in real time, tier one, tier N, across the board, even ones that they don't have direct data access to, but maybe they have access to their websites. They're able to at least get some level of data. And the data allows you to be able to do a lot of things, right? It's allowing you to have a much better risk posture as an organization. It allows you to identify opportunities much faster than maybe your competitors can. A lot of these workloads are already things that exist right now, right? The technology already exists. You can already do all these things. And I think, touching a little bit on the panel from yesterday, I think what's exciting now is moving away from a discussion of, wait, can AI actually help do these things? And we're moving now towards a conversation of, okay, now what can we really do, right? What can we really enable within our organizations? The technology is being increasingly proven, and it allows us as humans to say, wait, what can we do that we weren't actually even considering before? And I think that's a really exciting direction that we can go in.
So try and paint a picture of this. Like, so let's say in 5 years' time, we're at the 15th annual Sustainability Week here, and the AI has permeated through the ESG space. What do you think the landscape is going to look like if this is adopted as rapidly as you think it is going to be in the next, say, 5 years? Like, how is that going to change what we're going to be talking about when we gather here in 2030?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think I
gotta hold you to it.
Yeah, the transition, no one could have expected where we would be, with AI 5 years ago. So yeah, take this with a pinch of salt. But I think the proliferation of AI tools is like, just because there is a technology doesn't mean you should always use it, right? Like, we've all got a colleague who we'll ask them a question and we'll get back an essay with emojis all over it. And we're like, that's absolutely just come from ChatGPT. And it's like, there's a lot of noise around it. So I think actually the real skill is like where to use AI and how to use it most efficiently. Because I truly believe it's going to be like the age that we're in right now. It's like the 1990s with Microsoft Excel, It's like, it's just going to become ubiquitous. And so it's like, how can you make it more efficient? How can you use it in the right places? How can you not create noise and extra just fluff for the sake of it? Where is the true value? I don't know if that answered your question or not.
I think what I would love to see is increasingly, that the sort of the excuses that we oftentimes hear from lobbyists in Brussels, it's too complicated, it's too much work, that those will increasingly go away, because a lot of the most forward-looking organizations will have said, wait, I need this data, it's important to me, the technology is there. You can use the technology to make this work way more efficient, do it at way lower cost, have way more data, and become way more proactive as an organization, meaning that you also become way more competitive, right? And I think what the discussion I would love to have in 3 to 5 years is, how did I leverage this technology to really bring my organization forward, right? Rather than a discussion around data complexity, regulation, limbo. Like, I think those discussions will, there's a bit of a dichotomy right now, right? Everybody knows and agrees that the technology is there. Everybody also understands that the space we're in is very complicated. I think if we can start to blend those two together, I think that's going to be a much more interesting discussion to be having.
Yeah, actually, maybe I can build on that. I think, something that's been touted by all of us, I think, over the ESG practitioners is you can't manage what you don't measure, right? But I think we're in a world at the moment where all anyone has time for is measurement. So actually nothing is getting managed. And so I think in 5 years, with the advance of these technologies, it'll be like the lion's share of your time is managing this rather than measuring it and tracking it and disclosing it. It's like taking that next step, taking action. I'm a true believer that these technologies are going to kind of transform the paradigm there.
You paint a very optimistic picture. We have about a bit more than a minute left, so I wanted to get a few questions. I've got quite a few. We've got that gentleman there in the blazer, and then the woman in the pink coat behind her. And if we have time for any more, can we get a microphone? Or
Hello, hi, my name is David Benatar, and I'm looking into AI data solutions for net transition planning. So my question is, the way I understand the product available today in the market, it's a way to collect and analyze ESG data better and faster. So that's one. I don't know if you call that augmentation, and there's two terms to define that. The next stage would be to have an asset-specific decarbonization plan that would be fully costed with the actual solution and technology that needs to be implemented, specific to the market, and the time at which we're doing that review. So do you know of such solutions existing already today in the market? If I have a large portfolio of physical assets or financial assets, that solution would be able to tell me the cost and the actual technology to decarbonize my asset.
Yeah, maybe I can jump in. I mean, there's as you know, there's a lot of different tools out there, like Novata is a tool that I'm partial to. I think when I think about the AI, how AI can help with decarbonization plans, right? I think you could go into ChatGPT and you could say like, I'm running, I don't know, data centers across this region, and they're of this size, and I'm an ESG manager. Can you help me write a decarbonization plan? And you'd probably get a pretty good answer, right? But it would be kind of like 20,000, 30,000 foot. And so I think AI can help in that way, like triangulating you in the broadly the right region. But then I think truly to decarbonize, to transition, to make a business case, to pitch it to a board, those are the kinds of activities where I don't think any tool can solve that. Like that is the work of intelligent human beings, building a consensus, building a financial model. You know, I'm sure there's different ways AI can help in the mix, but I believe that the power of AI actually is to remove lots of the manual processes that were taking a lot of time for sustainability teams and save and free them up to do the work that really matters. So I think, I don't know if that answers your question exactly. I imagine there's a few different tools that can help you with different parts of the puzzle. But no AI tool today, or maybe ever, will be able to produce a fully costed decarbonisation plan for a complex portfolio of assets.
Great. We're running short on time, but we have promised the woman in the pink blazer one question. So can you briefly ask your question, please?
Hi, thank you. I'll be really quick. I'm Maddie. I'm from Sellafield, the nuclear industry, and I love the idea of AI doing the heavy lifting of a lot of our data, but being one of the most attempted hacked systems globally, our security is incredibly important to us. So I'd love to know more about your security of the data that we share with your system and how that works.
Yeah, maybe I'll jump into that. I think that's something that, I mean, that is oftentimes actually one of the biggest blockers to AI adoption right now. I think one thing that, I mean, we were talking about it before the panel, I think for many organizations, right, it's, okay, the AI is proven, the AI is there, but I have a lot of private data. I have really secure businesses. So actually, I think something that, for example, a startup like Briink, we spend quite a bit of time not just on the model side, but really on that side, right? We're also based in Germany, where people are obsessed with Datenschutz. So it's critical, right? So I mean, there's lots of different ways in which we can build that. We have built that. You know, isolating your data into isolated buckets, limiting the access to even just a few people within your organization, not training on the data, not retraining on the data. There's a lot of different elements in which you can do that. And we've done so. I mean, we work with some of the most heavily regulated companies in the world. So there are ways to get through that, I think. But it is critically important. I think, you know, what I would love to see is that we go, you know, that we are also able to tackle a lot of those adoption challenges, because ultimately that's what's going to drive us forward as an industry.
Great. Thank you very much. I'm afraid we're out of time, and I see there are many more questions, but we have a coffee break after this, so everyone can try and have the question, ask Mark or Thomas the questions during the break. It just leaves me to thank this excellent panel for a very optimistic and lively discussion of the future of AI and sustainability. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.